She was the biggest ball of energy. She was just nonstop on the move. She liked to run and dance and sing and play, and she acted out her movies and sung songs with her sister. And she got a little karaoke microphone that I'd given to her as an early Christmas present, and it had like a Bluetooth speaker attached to it so she could hear herself from the microphone. And she would just run around the house and sing and belt all of her songs out around the house. And she was just so lively and so sweet. She was the happiest child you could ever imagine meeting. She was such a delight to be around. She was the diva of the house for sure. She was just so much fun and so happy all the time.
Walk me through a little bit when it comes to the day of this accident happening.
I've argued with her dad her whole life to try to keep her out of that equipment. He was raised in a farm, and he was driving that equipment by the time he hit double digits, and he just thought it was normal and wanted to have her out there with him. And I'd offered to keep her while he worked, and my mom offered to keep her while he worked, and I'd offer to pick her up from school if he was working. But he wanted to have her with him because it was his time, and I couldn't argue with him about that. And he picked her up from school, and I got a phone call. I got a phone call from him, and he just said, "Catawba Firehouse now." And we got to the Catawba Firehouse before they were pulling an ambulance out of the building, and seen everything like firsthand. And I was screaming at him and asking him what the hell happened, and all he could say was that he ran her over. And then the more I find out, like, the air conditioner went out in the combine or something, so he was riding with the cab doors open and didn't have any kind of restraints in the tractor. There's a second seat in the tractor, but it doesn't have a seat belt or anything like that on it. And like I said, she's a rambunctious girl. She had autism and ADHD and a self-harm diagnosis. Like, we have handicap placards in our car because her doctor didn't want us walking through too big of a parking lot with her, because she doesn't realize when she was being a hazard to herself. And it just breaks my heart that he didn't take that into consideration when he was taking her out there with him all the time. Like, I know he loved her, but like, how could you be so careless? But also, it's important to note how preventable the situation could have been. Like, something as simple as having her in a seatbelt, or actually having the cab doors closed. Like, I just don't understand how this could happen. And I'm still trying to wrap my mind around her being gone. And every day I fall apart when I wake up and before I go to bed, and several times through the day. And I just miss her so much. I had my mama and my dad living in the same house with us, and they were both in hospice at the same time, and both died in the house within like weeks apart in May. And then now I lost my baby, and it's only been like 5 months that we've lost 3 people out of our house. And it's so quiet now. And the house seems so big without everybody there. And I just don't know how to make myself feel better. But I think it's important to bring stories like hers to light and bring attention to, like, when I was looking at the agricultural census and the farming statistics, like the amount of deaths that are caused to children that are under the age of 20 is ridiculous. I know that people have tried to pass legislations in the past to try to put laws in place to help these accidents, like prevent these accidents from happening, and it's just met with great backlash. So, like, I don't know if there's something I could push with the manufacturers, like better safety features, seat belts. If you're gonna have a bucket seat, bring a seat belt in there at the very least, something along those lines. Like, something's gotta be done to save these kids. Like, she was doing so good in school. She was getting ready to receive a SOAR award on October 24th for how good she's doing this year. And I can't fathom not being her mommy anymore. And I know I still am, but it's so hard without her around. I know kids that were 7 and 8 that would help on the farm and do things like that. We have relatives that did, but they were all atypical children and were more advanced. You know what I mean? Like, the hazard level of having a child that has no sense of danger in a piece of equipment like that is just astronomical. If there's any possible way that I could get someone to help me figure out how to put regulations on, like, age restrictions on children riding and operating farm equipment. Like, I understand you're going to take your kids to a corn maze and you can go on a hayride. You know what I mean? That's one thing. But it's a whole nother thing to have your child in a tractor for hours and hours at a time while you're plowing fields and stuff like that. That's not safe, especially for a small hyperactive child. Like, to be confined in that small of a space and in those conditions. So I know there's laws that prevent children 16 and under from driving equipment, but, like, I don't understand how a tractor would have different rules than a car as far as having safety belts and things like that in them. You know what I mean? So, like, just, I'm trying to find somebody to help me straighten out what avenues I could take to try to help save some other family from a tragedy like this. Because this has just broken everybody involved. And I don't want to, like, put regulations on farmers and, like, make things harder for people to make a living, because the farming community already has it so rough already, it's ridiculous. But these are preventable accidents. It's really hard for my oldest daughter too, because I have a 17-year-old daughter as well. And her and Charlotte were just starting to get really close over the past summer, and they were watching K-pop Demon Hunters together all the time, and Eris would sing and Charlotte's learning the choreography, and we'd watch that movie 4 times a day. And then now her little sister's just gone, and she's so angry. I've reached out to some counselors and some trauma therapy people, and I'm gonna see who can try to help, but it's been a rough ride without her. I keep finding Christmas presents that I bought for her early and stashed away that I won't be able to give to her now. I just don't know how I'm supposed to heal from this. Just the idea of this happening to somebody else crushes my soul, and I don't want any other family to have to deal with something like this. Like I said, just, like, even if there's not a law put in place restricting children of a certain age from being around that equipment while it's operating, maybe we could get safety regulations on the equipment to where they've got restraints and seat belts for their little bucket side seats that are there. There's so many very small steps we can take to help save kids from accidents like this. And I really just want to help, because I have to make this matter, or it'll just kill me. She has to matter.